So you clarified what you're offering and who it's for and how you're helping them. That's the foundation. That's the dream and that's the seed. But before we can start building that, we need to excavate the ground that you're growing in. And that ground is your identity. It's your confidence and your self-worth. And we need to make sure that it's solid and that it has the capacity to support everything that we're going to build on top of it. Because if you have a bunch of holes in your self-confidence, if it's like a mesh of gopher holes down there, can't build on that. So let's learn how to heal those holes. And I'm going to teach you a neurological method to do this. The reprogramming tool that I teach stems from cognitive behavioral therapy and re-regulation methods. It is very powerful if you do it consistently. And with time, it's going to start to reprogram your nervous system and create a more stable mental environment for you. That's a more stable emotional resilience for you to make smart, courageous, and sometimes really difficult decisions that you know are in your best interest. It's going to help you de-escalate the fears and the negativity and the catastrophizing that's been tripping you up. So the method is a writing practice that takes about 20 minutes. And I recommend doing it either first thing in the morning to set your energy for the day or before you go to bed at night so that your nervous system can recover. But you can really do this whenever you feel like you need to stabilize yourself. And there are 3 steps. So first, you're going to write down all your fears, all your resentments, and your anger. And it doesn't have to be legible or organized. You just want to get them out of your mind and onto paper and away from yourself. The physical act of writing them down helps you express them with a little bit less emotion, and it lets you see them objectively as something separate from you. And it gives you an opportunity to question their validity. And the language is really important here. There's a specific way to do this writing exercise. So you're going to write down, I'm afraid that, whatever your fear is, because I'm afraid that, why? What's the belief behind the fear? So for example, I'm afraid that my business will never be successful because, why? Well, I've never achieved anything like this before, and I don't know if I can trust myself to stick with it. So what you're doing with this exercise is naming the beliefs behind all the fears, which creates some space between you and that fear. And it lets you examine it. This is quite literally what addressing your fears is about and unpacking what's behind them. Asking yourself, why do I have this fear? And is that really valid? And if you're struggling to understand the why behind them, just the act of writing them all down will help you set them down and re-regulate your emotions. In the next step, you're going to reread those fears one by one and reframe them. And now, instead of saying, I'm afraid that I'll never launch my business because I'm afraid it's too big of a goal and I'm afraid I'm not smart enough, you're going to change that language to how. How can I make sure that? How can I make sure that I launch my business? How could I get some support? How could I make sure that I achieve this big goal? How could I break it down? How could I get help? How could I make a plan? What's happening here is that shift in your language is shifting how your brain is approaching the problem. And instead of focusing on the fear and paralyzing yourself, you're instead focused on how you can resolve it. And now your brain is moving. It's not paralyzed anymore. It's working and thinking and getting creative. And if you practice this exercise, that tiny mental shift is going to change your life. The third step is to meditate. This is a lot of mental gymnastics, and you need to let your brain chill out. And to do this, you can either simply meditate for a few minutes, or if you're like me and that's hard for you, repeating a calming word or phrase for about 5 minutes will do the same thing. So personally, I really like easy. It's like calming down a distressed animal. Easy, 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 easy. So give this a try and see how it makes you feel.